Hello, everyone. My name is Deepankar, and I'm the CEO of Deep Longevity. I welcome you and thank you for joining us today for the launch of SenoClock SaaS platform, the home of all our aging clocks. This is an important milestone for us, and I'm thrilled to see so many potential customers, partners, and stakeholders in this webinar. I have with me Alex, who founded this company, and Feder, who leads our research and is behind the science we are developing. I'll now invite Alex to share his thoughts about founding Deep Longevity and the value and purpose of aging clocks. Alex, over to you.
Hi, everybody. It's a great pleasure and privilege to be with you here at this historic software as a service aging clock launch. My name is Alex Javrankov. I am the founder and CEO of a company called In Silico Medicine, which specializes in AI-powered drug discovery and utilizes deep neural networks to learn the fundamental human biology in order to identify targets and then drug those targets using real small molecules. So many years ago, when we just started, we thought about how do we measure the effect of any therapeutic intervention, and specifically longevity intervention, in a clinical study, in the context of a clinical study, or in a meta-study. And we realized that you cannot develop any longevity interventions without having the ability to introduce any kind of aging biomarkers. And we started utilizing deep neural networks to predict human chronological age in a healthy state. We called it biological age. And we started using many different data types, originally just very basic blood tests, laboratory tests that you get from your general practitioner, from any lab, to train deep neural networks to predict just one feature that is present in everybody. And it turns out that deep neural networks started outperforming pretty much every other method for machine learning and for statistical analysis of those data sets, because deep neural networks are just very good at generalizing. And then we realized that they are not just black boxes. We can interpret them, make them better, combine them together, and combine previously incompatible data types. So we went into many data types, imaging data, transcriptomic data, methylation data, wearable data, anything that changes in time can be used to train an aging clock. However, the most useful clocks for physicians are still the clocks that are made using just very regular blood tests, because that's something that they can interpret, that they understand, and they can modulate. And also, you can make some inferences, very logical inferences with limited number of features about why your drug or interventions works or doesn't work, and also how does it work. On which biomarker does it act? Which organ and system does it affect? So in 2019, we decided to spin this entire collection of aging clocks and the team that developed those clocks into a separate company and called it Deep Longevity. This company independently fundraised from some of the phenomenal longevity investors, and actually Human Longevity, founded by Craig Venter and then led by Dr. Ho Wei Wu, the wonderful chairman of this great company. They also invested in Deep Longevity and started its journey as an independent company. Then in 2020, this company got acquired by Endurance Longevity, publicly traded company, which also specializes in biomedicine and has the management that is very focused on longevity. And at that time, we decided to give the control to the managing company, Endurance Longevity, and then they hired the wonderful new CEO who is deeply passionate about the company, deeply passionate about longevity, and has management consulting background. That is Deepankar Nayak. It actually gives me great pleasure to know that the abbreviation of his first name is Deep, which is Deep Longevity. So I hope you don't take it too personal, Deep. And I hope that you do continue growing this company and turning this into a completely new beast. Because what we realized is that what is lacking in the longevity industry is that there are wonderful clocks. We published many dozens of papers about the clocks, published tools, published apps. However, in the clinical practice, you do not see any consensus on those clocks, and it's actually very difficult to implement a standardized solution into the clinical practice or in clinical trials or on your app. And we realized that, or actually under the leadership of Deep Nayak, the company realized that there needs to be a solution that is easily accessible from the cloud and also extremely versatile. So you can configure it to your liking. You can produce reports to your liking in the automated manner, and you could also configure those reports, customize those reports, and ensure that they're interpretable for physicians and they're interpretable for even end customers. So deep longevity itself does not work with end consumers. The company does not process human biological data coming from consumers. It works with other businesses that implement those clocks. And to address this need, Deep Longevity launched this wonderful aging clock as a service. It's actually, we coined the term ACAS, or longevity as a service, as I like to call it, and managed to offer it to the entire customer base of Deep Longevity, and it's stuck. So right now, it gives me great pleasure to pass the word back to Deep in order to tell you a little bit more about this wonderful journey, about this wonderful tool, and also the roadmap that you are going to see within the next few months, maybe possibly the entire year, where Deep Longevity is going to integrate additional clocks onto this cloud as you continue using it. And you would be able to combine many of those clocks, provide feedback, and improve those clocks. One of the most successful clocks that we've built so far, and I contributed to the study, was the clock that is trained on human psychological data, surveys from massive repositories of human psychological survey repositories, Midas and Charles in so China Health and Retirement Study, Midas Midlife study in the US, open data sets that the government used in order to evaluate the many factors about their citizens, and making those data openly accessible to researchers around the world can actually get most of those data sets freely. We realized that there is also psychological age. There is subjective age. You can combine those ages with biological age and see the feedback between biology and psychology. Amazing findings just published about a month ago, making huge headlines and creating enormous interest among the psychologists, psychiatrists, research community, and biologists trying to link psychology and biology. So our next step would be to introduce the psychological aging clocks also in the cloud, so you would be able to combine them. However, right now the need is for biology to be implemented, and that's the first need that we're addressing. So Deep, the floor is yours. Thank you for inviting me to give this short intro. I'm very happy to have contributed scientifically to many of the studies, and I will continue supporting the company. However, the real captain of this ship is Deep. And Deep, please take us into the deep and shallow waters of our deep aging clocks. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Alex. Your passion is always inspiring, and indeed today is one big giant step for us in the direction that you and the vision that you outlined. You actually took away the need for me to present a few slides which I had. So I'll go directly to the application and start my presentation by showing everyone SenoClock. So as you can see, this is the platform that we have built, which is the home for all our aging clocks. So customers, providers, clinics, and hospitals, you would be accessing this URL, senoclock.deeplongevity.com. You will have a unique ID and password, which will be your login and your email and your password. And then this is the landing page that you will see. As you can see here, you would be able to drag and drop files. I'll do that in a minute. And there is a dashboard here, which allows you to track what reports have been uploaded, how many have been processed, if there has been any which didn't get processed. So I'm going to start the process. Imagine I'm an admin at the clinic. End of the day, I have got a list of blood reports, and we are launching SenoClock as Alex outlined with the blood age. We are going to have our psychological aging clock available in a couple of months. So you can actually upload blood reports in a PDF as well as CSV format and Excel as well. So we are in the process of building the Excel format out as well. So it should be available by the time any of you are implementing this in your clinics and hospitals. So you see, I am able to select multiple files, and I choose all the files. In this case, this is blood age. So this is the only clock that is appearing. Going forward, if you have psychological questionnaires that you're uploading, we'll have that also here in the dropdown. So I choose blood age and I generate the reports. So this is where you can, this is a progress bar. You can see that the reports are being processed, and you can see that the numbers got updated, right? So it was 82, it has become 88, and this has become 78. So if I click here, I can actually see that this application is processing. Now, a few things I'd like to say while this is going on, and you will see this is the premise of making aging clocks available on the cloud, is the processing is instantaneous. So you'd be able to generate reports in a matter of a minute, few minutes. The platform is highly scalable, so you could use it for a few dozen, few hundred, few thousand, tens of thousands of patients and customers, and it will scale accordingly. This is global, so you could have your businesses, your business units, your clinics in different cities, in different parts of the world, and you could still manage that as a single business. Finally, we have built this application keeping privacy at the heart of it. So any application, any reports that we upload, we would be in the live environment, deleting them within 72 hours. This is also a customizable parameter. We have kept this looking at operational needs, like making these reports available over the weekend, but this can be even reduced further. So you can see that the reports have all been processed. So before I actually show you what the output is, let's look at a typical blood report, right? Just for us to sort of familiarize ourselves in terms of what does the report look like, right? So this is from Quest, one of the largest labs in the US, and the format sort of changes from different labs, different countries, different regions, and we are able to actually handle all that complexity. All we need from you is a sample, and the sample can we can process that, see if there are any tweaks that we need to make to our algorithms to handle different formats, different languages. All of the complexity we can handle. But in effect, then you see, and this is sort of the practice that is followed all over the world. You'll see certain numbers, and then basically, as a patient, there is very little that such a report tells you. You are then you have to take this to a doctor, and the doctor will usually look at what is sort of the outlier and have a conversation focused on the outlier. But a lot of information is actually hidden in this report, which we'd like to bring out to you. So I'm going to go back to my application, see what are the process report, and pick up the report from Quest. So you can see, you can just click and download the reports in a second, and it's downloaded on your laptop or your desktop. So you open the report, and this is the SenoClock blood summary. At the top, you can see you have your clinic name, This is a test logo. So this would be the logo that your organization would have. So this would be like a branded offering from your organization that would be shared. The information about the user is listed here. This is just the patient gender and age. And that's actually all we need to generate these reports. We need the gender, we need the age, and we need the markers in the blood report. So this particular person is 30-year-old but has a biological age, blood age in this case of 28, which is great. The person is doing very well. And then there is an opportunity to do even better. And the optimal age can be 25 for this person. So here is a little bit of visualization to confirm this information. We compare the biological age of the person with the database that we have, which is, and this statistic then is the projection into the rest of the population, right? So this user can sort of understand that there are only 1/3 of people out there who have maybe better health than this person, right? Which is a great statistic, and it's usually good if you're sort of left of the 50% on this map. Now here things begin to really become very interesting. So we have looked at the clinical blood report, and then we visualize which parameters are sort of above or beyond range, right? So then the discussion sort of becomes more holistic, right? And now the user or the customer, the patient knows that, okay, I can look at my white blood cells and look at my cholesterol, my proteins, and ask the doctor about these as well. We are able to generate organ health scores if the parameters are present. In this case, the parameter is present, all the parameters are present for lipid, and lipid looks to be slightly suboptimal. Now, the question of optimal age, and this is very important, because this is where we want everyone to sort of take control, be the stewards of their own health, and see what is that they can do in order to become better, stay younger. So here, the algorithm is looking at the markers which are causing aging, impacting aging, and then based on that, the AI is making recommendations. In this case, we can see certain supplements are being recommended in terms of folates, vitamins, zinc. We can work with you if you have your own. We have done our research, and every recommendation that we make are backed by sources. But if you have your own protocols and regimen, then we can look to integrate that with our approach as well. Moving on, we actually break this down, and there are very few companies. Alex made a point earlier on in terms of how we are published, how he has been instrumental himself in many of the studies that we have created. We think we are amongst the few organizations who publish extensively, right? In fact, I don't think there are many organizations in this space doing what we are doing who are so open and transparent in terms of their approach and their science. We publish extensively. All our papers are listed on our website under the science tab, so you can actually go there and read through if you're interested. And we want to take the same approach when we are speaking with the patient and customer, because we understand how sensitive the topic of health is, and we would like everybody to understand their health as much as it can be done without sort of overwhelming them. So here you can see we have taken the top 14 markers, and we are saying the ones in red are the markers which is causing aging, and the ones in green are the anti-aging markers. But then we actually take every marker and we break it down, and we say this is the impact years, right? So the visualization is on the top 14 to enable a better, faster, more focused conversation. But then everything is sort of clearly detailed out, and then the person can really understand that the blood age is being calculated as a sum of the chronological age, the markers which are impacting aging, and plus the markers which are anti-aging. In this case, this is 30 plus 10 minus 12, which is 28 years. So the person is just not grappling with the number, right? So I've got 28 years. What does it mean? Where does it come from? But now begins to understand that this is how the age is being predicted. We imagine how such a conversation can be across the table, across a physician, And we didn't want the customer to sort of have two different documents or the physician to have two different documents. So we have taken that need out. And what we have done is we have populated the values from the clinical blood report in here. And personally, maybe you would agree that this table sort of looks better to me than the one I showed earlier. Right? This is much clearer and easy to categorize and easy to read than what we saw before. So even this itself is generating value in terms of facilitating a better conversation with the physician. We want people to understand their health better, so we explain the organ health scores. We explain which markers are used to calculate those organ health scores for the ones which are present. In this case, lipid was present, so lipid is calculated using these four parameters of cholesterol and triglycerides. We also explain why we are proposing, or rather the algorithm in the AI is proposing the recommendations for improving the health. Right? So what does a folate supplementation do? It's necessary for platelet production in the bone marrow. What does B12 do? This is not information that is easily available, and most of us, or most people who are not very tuned in towards health as a topic would know what this would mean. Having mentioned all of that, it is very important that we call out that this is, and we don't intend this to be an instrument for self-diagnosis or self-medication. We would like the patients and the consumers to use this, but then seek advice from a trained health professional for actually charting a regimen that they can follow. This brings me to the end of my presentation. I think we are doing good with time, so I'm going to stop sharing now, and we'd like to take any questions that are there. So I'm going to go through the Q&A. I can see Ferrer has already answered a number of questions. So I see a question around API. That's a good point. So our technology, while this is available over SenoClock, as you just saw, we also make this available using API as a white label solution. So if you have your own applications using which you are capturing customer information, and you'd like this information to be embedded in your existing ecosystem, we actually find that quite beneficial, and we can easily do that. And that's also a very good point, and sort of forces me to mention, right, the reason why we have not gone into the area of sort of creating a medical CRM or holding patient records ourselves. We can do that easily, but I think there are already so many solutions and platforms already out there. Most hospitals and clinics, if they are working with patients, they have some sort of a technology infrastructure to handle patient information. And we think at this stage, at least, that it would be sort of redundant for us to recreate that infrastructure. And the information that we have can actually sit within the current infrastructure that clinics and hospitals have. Just looking at some of the earlier questions, yes, this is an online application. This is a web application, as you saw. This is the home for all our aging clocks. Am I just looking at some of the questions and maybe just show you a slide. This would be useful for many of the attendees to see what is the roadmap that we have. What you saw, what I presented was the blood age clock. We are going to bring in the psychological aging clock into SenoClock platform within a couple of months. So that is our goal. So early next year, this should be available. And then immediately after, we'll look to bring in the epigenetic clock. So these three clocks are already commercially ready for us. We are building the microbiomic and transcriptomic clock. As you can see, we have patents assigned to us already. We have patents pending for several other clocks, but these would be next in our pipeline that should be available to our customers. Going back to Zoom, just seeing if there are any other. I see a question from Neil where he's saying results of studies on how the target population would like to be called. Absolutely. We are actually having discussions, and the application of these aging clocks are quite varied and across industries. So we are speaking with stakeholders who are physicians and run their own hospitals and clinics, and clearly they are most tuned to this topic. But we also see that this technology would be highly effective in the insurance industry. And actually, we are beginning to have discussions with the government officials who are thinking that our aging clocks can be a very good tool to run population health studies and actually drive population health at scale. I think that's it. That's sort of all the questions we have. Are there any other questions that we need to answer that has not been answered yet? Yes, this presentation and this webinar will be available to you. We will send this via separate email, and you will get this after this meeting. If that is all, then we thank you again for taking your precious time and joining us for the launch of SenoClock. This is just the beginning. We are looking to run a series of webinars, communicating more information, running a few more demos. So feel free to spread the word. And Feder has mentioned the email address in the chat a few times. Please drop us an email with any queries, questions. We'd love to take this conversation forward. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining us. This has been a fantastic conversation to have. We'll close the webinar now. Bye-bye, and thanks again.